Hey, welcome to the Guitar Gun. Today we're going to be looking at bass triads, and we're going to start with the major triad, and they're all from the major scale: a root, a third, and a fifth. We're going to start with a C major triad. Start with our second finger on the third fret of the A string. That is our root note. Our third note is going to be found by our first finger a string down on the second fret. So root, third. Our fifth note is going to be found on the fifth fret of the D string. A little bit of a stretch there. And then the pinky gets us back to the root again. If that's a little bit too challenging for you, if we go up to the 8th fret, we can start up here with another C note. C, and then we've got this, the third fret below and a string down, a fifth, which is going to be up on the 10th fret, and then the root here with the pinky on the D string. What you need to do is practice both those shapes. Notice I've moved my hand to compensate the fact that I can't quite stretch that far. Up here on the 8th fret. Then what you need to do is practice going backwards. That's your main major triad shape. If we look at how those two shapes lay on the fretboard, up here and down here, they do link together by a second shape, which looks like this. So we start with our pinky on the root note, our ring finger on the third, and then our first finger will do the fifth and the root. Now I'm calling out the note values, not the fret numbers. The fret numbers are 8 on the E, 7 on the A, 5 on the D, 5 on the G. So root, third, fifth, octave. Okay, a good activity is to go up one, then down the middle one, and then up. First one again, then go backwards. Now, if this is a root note, we need to also recognize the fact that there's going to be a fret lower and a string down. And then there's going to be a fifth that's going to be 4 frets higher. So there again we have the pattern again. We just can't go to the octave because we don't have another string. Oh, run out of strings. And then you have that second pattern. Oops. That sits in between. There are additional notes that are part of the triad that don't necessarily fit in those patterns because they get cut off by having strings missing and frets running out and so forth. So for example, this shape here, anytime you have a root note, there is always going to be a fifth above it. Just like this root note here had the fifth above it here, and this root note here had a fifth above with it. Well, this root note here has a fifth above it. And then the fifth, you go down 3 frets and you have the third. So that E note there is going to be the same third note, but an octave lower than that one. So there's a pattern that is always the same. So it's about visualizing the pattern and seeing where the other notes exist on the fretboard. So in review, you'll find that there's the main shape, there is the connecting shape, there are additional notes that are a part of the shape, so the fifth that sits above the root, and then the root note, sorry, the third. But the combination of notes has always stayed the same. The pattern will always stay the same. We're going to look at the minor triad. Once you've got both these down, you've pretty much got your basics set. So the minor triad is similar to the major triad, which just has one note difference. The third note is flattened, so it's a fret lower. So instead of playing, you've got to play, but that's an enormous amount of fretboard you need to cover. But thankfully, there is another third, flat third here. So if we start on C with our first finger this time, the root note, flat third with our pinky, which is going to be 1, 2, 3 frets higher, and then our fifth is going to be played here with our ring finger, which we can either flatten to play the root note again, or we can put our pinky in there. So reviewing, root note, flat third, fifth, octave. Similarly up here, we've got a C note here, go up 3, we've got our flat third, fifth and octave. That is our basic minor triad shape. Just like the major triad shape, there's a connecting shape that will connect those two patterns together. So the first pattern, second pattern, connecting shape. Okay, so we've got the C note here, we play with our pinky. We were playing the major third here, but remember it's flattened, so we've got to flatten it. So pinky with the root note, flattened third with our second finger, and then fifth and root with our first. And again, a great activity is to go through all 3 of those. That's the minor triad. Again, there are other notes, like with the major. Anytime you have a root note, there's a fifth directly above it. It's always directly above it. For the minor or the major, the fifth is always directly above the root. But the difference is, we've got the root note here, our third, it's not going to be there, it's going to be flat, remember. As you go up the fretboard, it can be a little bit easier. Okay, so it's about identifying where the patterns are, where the shapes are, and see where you can find the ones that are hidden. So just to review, with the minor triad, you have 2 main shapes. Root, flat third, fifth, and root. Root, flat third, fifth, and root. Thanks for joining today. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out the links below for the lesson resources and have a great day. See you next time at the garden.